and risk, so we'll see what the pair has in store. Game number 1 of our second set coming your way right now.
Trainer Dex and JTV at the bottom of your screen. Awcraft and the God RF from Immortals at the top.
Jay and Dex both 7K players themselves. 7.2 for JTV. Trainer Dex 7.4.
Starting off with a very nice poison there.
That's what we call value. Bat split, and there we go. Miner way deep inside in an unsafe position for Immortals, and they don't get any shots off with that set of guards, still getting the pickup.
Yeah, I mean, the last place you want to play your Miner is on the inside because you can still snowball to King Tower. With NATO being out of play, it does free up so many spots for that Miner to break through.
And with the Lightning, Ram Rider might get a connection. No, Snowball comes in, but Mega Knight could get a big leap. Last second Lumberjack turns him the opposite way.
So Lumberjack there. When you see the Lumberjack, you're always wondering, is it going to be Royal Giant? Is it going to be Balloon? Is it going to be Ram Rider? It doesn't really mean a lot, but it does mean there will be a Rage Spell dropping down. P.E.K.K.A. makes quick work of that RG.
Yeah, supported by the Ram Rider, able to keep that RG from getting anywhere near the tower. So now it's the turn of AC and RF, and they almost get on last second Goblin Cage, although I think we will see. Here we go.
That's going to be, oh wow. Maybe not quite tower down, but a lot of damage in.
Miner out to the back, and now this is going to be way too much for Chaos Theory to handle.
Yeah, that Ewiz has been alive for so long, providing so much utility, and you know how frustrating it is when a Miner comes in last second and the Ewiz resets your tower onto the Miner, taking for the Ewiz so much damage in for Immortals.
Heading into double elixir time, Immortals pretty much throwing a shutout here in this game. Trainer Dex and JTV need to find a way to battle back.
And this is helping the West scream back into contention after that rough start from SK.
Giant Skeleton taken care of. Lumberjack taken care of. And even though that bomb will get some value there, still a good spot here for Immortals.
Yeah, only 30 seconds remaining. You see the Ram Rider there even slowing down the Royal Giant. Going to have a really hard time breaking through in the next 20.
Oh, a miscommunication from Immortals, doubled snowballing on that. So, wow, there's only 15 seconds left, and they should be okay. You know, that was a bit of a miscommunication. A rare one from AC and RF.
We just heard that ashamed Goblin in stereo here on the stage.
And there you have it. Game number 1 in the books for AC and RF, and they are feeling the mojo.
Yeah, P.E.K.K.A. so very effective, knowing that the battle's going to be on the ground. The biggest tank cards that we see, or the most popular tank cards we see, is the Giant and the Mega Knight. So P.E.K.K.A. cutting right through.
Yeah, and they had that Mega Knight P.E.K.K.A. combination, means that it's so hard to catch them out. You have 2 big, dangerous tanking units who can handle swarms, who can handle the single target damage, and you saw the Ram Rider P.E.K.K.A. combination, what it did to the Royal Giant. Then you throw on the opposite side the P.E.K.K.A. Ewiz combination, what it did to the Giant Skeleton. Really just no way through for Chaos.
Yeah, and you saw there JTV and Dex having such a difficult time getting damage on the Ewiz behind these big, tanky troops resetting on the tower over and over, whether it was to the Dark Prince, whether it was to the P.E.K.K.A. up front, and then the Miner coming in for the final blow, tanking for the Mega Minion and the Ewiz. Just nothing in the hand for the Chaos Theory representatives.
And of course, we did see that opening Miner play to the back, and a little bit of a heart palpitation there, forgetting that there are bans here, and NATO's not in play. Of course, Snowball still could get a retarget, not quite from that spot, but still a dangerous call there as well. But pays off well for AC and RF, a game in hand. And now looking at this, you have Immortals possibly going for a 2-set sweep over Chaos Theory, which would then bring us to Liquid Ponos.
Yeah, Liquid Ponos, 2 teams that didn't even know if they're going to be able to play today. Immortals making it look more and more like that is the case, but there are still more games to be won by the West before they can even think about that third and final match. So AC and RF in a great position to take this to match number 3.
Yeah, you got to wonder what Chaos Theory can come up with at this point. You know, they got pretty much countered as hard as you can in 2v2 there. There was just no way to break through, and I'm very impressed also by the way the AC and RF are playing in the ban meta for 2v2.
Well, here's the thing is that the most popular decks from Asia that we've seen in 2v2 are that double giant quadruple prince, and then of course the giant skeleton royal giant deck that's just tried and true all throughout the entire season, even before we got to WCG. So the deck that they ran with the miner to get through to the chip, or get through to the back for chip damage, of course the E was there to reset the charges on the princes or to stun that royal giant, and of course the ram rider as well with that snare. Just as you said, a lot of counters coming out.
So a game in hand for AC and RF, the two squads getting their work done, preparing their new decks. We should be getting back to the action here in just a moment. You can see the fans, a lot of Clash Royale fans in the building, and you can see SK there also watching, waiting, hoping that Immortals can send this to a match number 3.
One of the things I love the most about the crowd being right here next to us is you turn around, you see a bunch of people playing Clash Royale, just like you and myself do in between matches. And, you know, that's why we love our fans. They are just as into this as we are.
It has been a fun and wild week here in Xi'an, China. A lot of Clash Royale, got to call some, but also got to be spectators some as well, which is a nice change of pace for you and I.
Yeah, I actually completely agree. It was so fun to go out there, and that's probably why my voice is so hoarse. I've been screaming for these players, especially WCG yesterday. I think I might have screamed louder than his mother, to be honest.
So here we go, game number 2. Immortals looking to close out the match. Chaos Theory trying to stay alive.
Yeah, Dex and Jay looking very, very serious at the moment. AC and RF playing cool and calm.
So just some small cycle from both teams to open up, and there you go. Looking like it's going to be double giant quadruple prince for Dex and JTV. That giant skeleton getting a ride courtesy of the Dark Prince Express.
High poison coming out.
And pretty easily taken care of, and there we go. Graveyard for Immortals. They ran this construction quite a lot this season.
Yeah, and they were also the ones that kind of created that new giant skeleton graveyard deck in the 1v1 set as well. So now the question is, with NATO being off the board, you do see the log there for a bit of knockback from Chaos Theory, but will a giant skeleton ever break through? This deck is so frustrating to play against, Rich, because with the freeze, you have to pay so much attention defensively on the back end that giant skeleton can just kind of waddle his way up to the tower before you know it.
You know, it feels like, Andrew, it's going to be a very difficult prospect with how quick this deck is. We're not used to seeing Giant in 2v2 from being from the West, and with the Giant, with the Princess, it would be surprising. It would be a big misplay on the part of Trainer Dex and JTV if they let that happen.
Cannon cart coming out. I was going to say, there has to be a rage coming in very soon when you see the cannon cart being played high to take care of that goblin cage.
And a late giant skeleton to pick up the DPS units behind, and not going to do much on the offensive side of the board, but does stop the bleeding. We are heading into double elixir time, and at the moment, it is Chaos Theory with the slight lead.
Yeah, and you see that 4 elixir spent to keep that tower at 100% health. Very nicely played by JTV and Dex, who were still even in elixir at that moment.
So very aggressive graveyard play from AC and RF so far, and there you see again the freeze coming in, and those skeletons doing a lot of work, forcing out a double spell, so maybe a bit of a miscommunication there as well from Dex and Jay.
Yeah, you saw the Ewiz and the Snowball coming down, probably not the best utilization of their elixir, only 1327 remaining, and at a slight elixir deficit.
So choosing to ignore the damage on the right-hand side is AC and RF, and now Trainer Dex and JTV saying, well, if you're not going to stop that, how about this? Snowball clears out the bats.
Dark Prince demands a zap, and the cannon cart will be stopped short of crossing the river.
And here we go, Graveyard one more time. Prince Baby Dragon up high to stop the tankage. And still, every single time, a lot of damage coming into this Graveyard.
So much elixir spent defensively with all 3 of those troops coming in, giving great poison value to Immortals.
Immortals in a very good spot. Now it's their turn to take the free damage on the left-hand side. down to 6:42 on the right-hand lane. We are 20 seconds in to sudden death overtime.
And one of the things about this double graveyard deck is you end up making your opponents just playing on their heels, only defensive over and over and over again. So hard to mount an offensive push. Now you see in the left-hand lane, something is coming down, but once again, that giant skeleton should be able to clean up a lot.
Yeah, hard to get behind. You see the E-Wiz there in support on the
look
giant.
at the right here.
Defensive freeze out from Immortals.
And there's those skeletons that you talked about, Rich. Very high DPS, very, very cheap.
So Immortals going with discretion as the better part of Valor, avoiding a lot of that damage, although now left-hand side on 1058 and a very healthy giant making its way across. Goblin Cage, Dark Prince picking up that giant, but now Immortals in a pretty big hole elixir-wise.
Yeah, a very healthy giant, but a very aggressive giant, Rich. The Musketeer not able to get behind it, and with the Goblin Cage already on the field, it did feel like that was a bit too aggressive.
And here we go. Now with all the troops across the board, Graveyard comes in, freeze high, skeletons all over that tower. They do force out a lot of small spells, so
and
now...
that belch was huge, Rich. That is going to do it. You saw Dex and Jay use that poison defensively up high to stop all those units from crossing the river. But what happens when you play your poison? You don't have it for the Graveyard, and Okrab and RF took big time advantage of that.
So there you go, a two-set sweep for Immortals. You have on one side, Game With, taken out fairly easily SK. Immortals says, well, anything you can do, I can do better. Comes and takes out Chaos Theory, and a big spot, too. Go talking about what AC and RF did. They did what we know they do.
Exactly.
But take a look at Lapakati. I mean, just unbelievable play. Some people say a ladder player isn't necessarily a competitive player. Lapakati breaks that mold for sure.
Yeah, that was absolutely astounding from all the Immortals representatives. You can see right here, very, very happy with one another. But they are a team today, and CRL West has one more big match ahead of them, as does CRL Asia. You saw JTV and Dex there kind of exchanging some words after the match, wondering what went wrong. They had nothing in response for AC and RF, and now coming your way, two teams we weren't sure if we were going to see, Team Liquid and Ponos.
Very excited for Liquid and Ponos. Of course, Liquid taking #1 in CRL West. Ponos taking #1 after a rough season, roaring through the playoffs, which is what they do. And this is a scary matchup for both these squads. Liquid has so much firepower, 4 of the top players on the planet, and then Ponos is so dangerous in high-pressure situations.
Well, they kind of do the NBA move, if you will, which is just squeak through to the playoffs and then take the championship. That is something that Ponos has done time and time again. A very experienced squad, but on the other side of it, you have Liquid, one of the most heralded teams in all of esports. So this is going to be a massive match. And you said yesterday, Eric Benamou, the coach of Liquid, wanted Ponos, and he got him.
Yeah, he was really excited about getting this possibility. Immortals wanted to go against Chaos, so all the matches everyone wanted happened today, and now we get to see one more full match of Clash Royale. And Andrew, we still have never seen that best-of-5 set.
Yeah, that is a very, very good point with two set sweeps to open up the day. This is going to be a big one. Everything on the line, everything evened up. We are essentially at 0-0 going into this third and final match.
It's going to be Diego B opening things up for Liquid. I believe he's going to be facing off against Reiki Jones in that first set, and then Mikan Booya and Tengod against Surgical Goblin and Canario. And Surge was telling me before these matches today that he wants a full 3 sets because he wants to come out in that best of 5 and show himself as a 1v1 player on this stage.
Well, that's one of the things we haven't seen a ton of. Surgical Goblin and Canario both showing up in King of the Hill a fair amount, but never in the 1v1 set as they turned into the 2v2 specialist for Team Liquid, and they have really made that their home, showing that they are 2 of the best 2v2 players out there in the world, which was kind of a surprise because we thought there was going to be a bit of a language barrier between the two, but Surgical, of course, doing everything that there is to learn a bit of Spanish.
So we'll be getting to that match in just a moment, but let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll be back here in a minute with Liquid facing off against Ponos.